Good evening, Cubes of the Cash. Gary B, the casual comic guy here, and welcome one and all to tonight's In the Hot Seat with the Usual Suspects. Joining me as co-host this evening, we have Digger Jim. How you doing tonight, Jim?
Doing great, doing great. Thank you for having me.
And our guest of the hour, and yes, we used his clone in the picture for tonight's thumbnail. We have Brian LCS. Brian, how you doing tonight, sir?
Doing well. Thanks
That
for
was his Bond version, wasn't it? It's
Well,
like
he said Spider-Man's not the only one that can have clones.
that was my holiday picture before the rest of the family came over and annoyed me.
oh, a
Right.
secret identity. It was a secret identity, setup.
Oh, goodness. So, of you guys out there, I think I'm the only one that's possibly getting pounded in the face with snow tonight because I live in the Great North. So, yay us. Of course, Buffalo has got to start getting pounded by snow first because they don't have any good sports teams, so they always get hit with the bad stuff first.
Man,
And, in other sporting news, Devils are on a 10-game winning streak. Go Devils. Killing it in the hockey world. But we're here tonight to talk with Brian LCS. You just saw him on the 10-1-1, and if you haven't checked out that episode, go back a couple days, watch it in the 10-1-1 playlist. We had a fun episode. Brian may have showed a Spider-Man book or two, and we went down some memories, and we had a lot of fun. But tonight, Brian's second appearance, and Brian, we kind of have an agenda tonight, right? You have something brewing that's finally coming to fruition after months and months of work. So we'll talk about that for a second, then we'll start asking you some questions. I got some questions about it anyway. Jim might have some different ones. But first, tell everyone about what's coming up on December 3rd.
So December 3rd is the 2022 Comic Book Community Awards. So this is the second year. So voting is now closed, and we are just waiting for the winners to be revealed. So like you said, December 3rd, Saturday night, 9 p.m. Eastern. Jerry's got questions. We'll announce the winners in 22 different categories.
Nice.
Now, does a guy come with like a locked briefcase to your house with the winners' information?
It's the LCS dancers.
Yeah.
Well, we've upgraded some technology now, so we can just do it all digitally.
Okay.
It's basically in a spreadsheet. So
no more Polaroids.
No more. The accounting firm at Deloitte and Touche did not count this. It's not certified. Yeah.
No, we did. I did send out. So there are a few. So we had a 10-person committee this year, and so what happened was before the finalists were announced, some of those committee members became finalists. So I couldn't send out the final votes to all of the committee members, but some of the committee members were able to look at the results and validate the results for me. So
Nice.
All right, let's say a quick hi to the chat, and then we'll get right into it. So joining us this evening, as always, Las Cruces. Good evening, sir. Comics by the Bay. Good evening. Brian LCS. That's just some jerk that keeps invading the chat. We got to block him.
We're gonna get some. He's a bot.
Right. We have the Jackson Roy Kirk, the comic collector. Good evening. Of course, Jerry the Jitterbug, one of the best people on the internet and in life.
No doubt.
And Johnny Five Alive. Good evening, sir. Main Event Comics. David, how are you, sir? And we got a lot of chat going on here. Hoarders Hide, Scott, how you doing? Of course, we already know. Jerry has questions. Rough House Comics, good evening. Unruly Simeon, nice to see you in here, sir. All right, and we're going to get going. Now, and Freaky
Louie.
One of the first questions I had is, this has been a whole nother year under the belt with you doing these awards. So what have you taken from last year that helped you perform and set up the awards this year, like having the committee? And we'll start with that part, and then we'll get into it a little deeper after.
Sure. It was really just getting feedback, right? Soliciting feedback or asking the community for feedback And the committee too. The committee helped shape some of the categories for this year. So just having some other voices from the community to help me shape this year's awards. And even this year, after we doubled categories, we went from 11 to 22. People were still suggesting, oh, well, maybe you could add this, or maybe you could add this type of category maybe next year. So I think having the community's feedback will continue to evolve the awards. Like I said, we're at 22 awards now. I could never really see going more than 25, because then it becomes participation trophy for everybody.
Right. Right.
So, but I think we could, some award categories could drop off, or maybe, and then new ones come in. So I think it really just depends on where the community's headed, that we could change things from year to year.
Yeah, sure.
Nice. Now, you had the committee this year. How did they come into fruition? What ended up forming this committee, and what part have they played in helping you with this year's awards?
So I reached out, kind of put an open invitation if anybody would like to join a committee. I had a committee last year, but it was only three other community members. So this year it was 10 plus myself. And so the committee helped vote on, helped shape the award categories, which award categories we added. Because like I said, we went from 11 to 22.
Right.
So they really helped shape those awards. They also helped with some of the, and it's actually on the CBC Awards website. We basically have the outline of how how the votes get collected. So I won't mention who, but we have a lawyer on the committee, so he helped some of the verbiage and shape some of the rules of how we're going to determine votes and finalists and ultimately the winners. But I mean, it's basically I'm a bean counter. I'm just counting the votes.
Right.
It's basically community driven. So I was excited to see that we increased. Last year we had about 540 votes for the finalists, and then this year we had over, I believe it was over 800.
800, right? Last time I saw
we definitely grew. So which is good. The words spreading about the awards, and so that's a good thing.
I know Marcus was on a tear there for a while. Just every other post was about it, and that's the key, is getting more support, is getting it out there as much as getting as many people to participate is always a good thing. But I think your committee being much bigger than 10 would be a little much. I think if people want to rotate in and out, that's one thing. But yeah, no, that's good. I'm glad that I agree with you. 25 would be a little much as far as the awards too. Much more than that. It's just
yeah, it becomes really unmanageable to be able to do, I think, more than 25. And like I said, I think you want to have some categories that are different categories that fit what's happening in the community and collecting.
right.
Like I said, yeah, 25 I think would really
right.
be the max. And yeah, Marcus, I have to thank Marcus. Marcus was my biggest pitch man out there, helping spread the word, and a lot of the community. There were a lot of people who were sharing on Instagram, and a number of people that were doing their votes, making videos of who they were voting for, which helped spread the word.
Yeah.
Which I think is a kind of a gutsy thing to do, right? Because they're all of the finalists are deserving, and
sure.
so then to have to eliminate four finalists and only select one.
Right.
To do
There's
that,
some hard choices.
Yeah. Right.
Hard choices.
Yeah.
There was some absolutely hard. When I was doing mine, I was like, oh man, I want to vote for no. I want to vote for no.
Yeah.
Really, what he meant was Mr. Bean is actually going to be live on the show picking the winners' names out of a hat blindly.
There you go.
Make it simple.
Yeah, well, I guess my question would be, was there anybody on the committee from that somebody, I don't know. I feel like I don't want to put this. It's almost like East Coast, West Coast type scenario. Like, did you get any participation from the West Coast people? And what I mean by that is, I mean, a lot of us are either here or in the Midwest, and then you have, Rob, obviously. Rob is the main person that I know from the West Coast side of things. But, I'm sure there were other ones.
Right. Yeah. So we had a representation. We had an international person on the committee. We had somebody from the West, the West Coast.
Right.
So
Okay.
yeah, it was a pretty good mix.
Well-rounded spectrum.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Now, with what you've done this year, and you've probably already gotten some feedback from stuff you've seen, do you have any idea how you're going to change things for next year's moving forward, or are you just focused on getting this year's complete?
Uh, a little bit of both, right? Focused on getting this year complete and be successful with that. But, I'm also listening. I've already jotted down some ideas for next year, certainly some category ideas. Somebody mentioned like best community artist, right? So we have a lot of talented
Right.
artists within the community, right? We've got Geek Out with Roscoe here tonight, right? So,
Right.
Having that potentially could be a category, or maybe even the best duo. It could be husband and wife, or it could be just a team.
Right.
So those type of things. But the one thing too, I think, is the facial hair, beard, hands category, best hair. That was a really that I consider just a straight fun category, right? You could
Right.
have pretty much anybody. Obviously you have to have facial hair or a pair of hands to be able to be nominated. But I'd like to try to duplicate the fun that we had with that category in other categories. Can we just strictly a fun category like that? So that's one of the things I'd like to try to do next year, is to try to duplicate that. To try to duplicate that.
Oh man.
Or Jerry, just have your wife come down and yell at you for using all the paper towels, or
There you go.
yeah, that's all.
All right, best on-screen conflict.
Jerry, what happened to the shaman? No, no, that's great. That's great. I don't know. I'm curious to see. Are you planning to have guests on for this, or like?
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to line up. I've reached out to some of the past winners from last year,
Right.
and some of the finalists this year, if they could submit videos that I could use. I have a couple things planned that I'm going to be creating, and I would like when the winners are announced, that the winners come on if they'd like to, and say a few words. There was one thing I learned from last year. I initially had said I'll have kind of like the Oscars, right, or any award show. They have all of the the finalists or the nominees, on. I had some of them on screen, but
Right.
then when if they're on screen and they lose, that's a tough situation because it's a live
It's like,
stream. It's not, yeah. So I definitely don't want to
yeah.
do that again. Have all five on, because
No.
it's unfair to the four that don't win. So,
Right.
but like I said, I will have, if any of the winners want to come on and say a few words, I'd like to have them, join the
Sure.
live stream and say a few things.
Right. Yeah. There you go. That sounds like a plan. I mean, please use
Now,
the tuxedo shirt again.
Yes, it's at the dry cleaner now.
Right.
now, one
Right.
of the things you did last year, incorporated into your thing, as Jim touched on, is you had a bunch of skits. Did
Yeah.
you write new skits for this year? Or did you decide to go in a different direction with the segues in between each award?
No, we're gonna be doing some skits again. Some try to make it funny. I mean, I'm
Taylor's available. Me too,
but yeah,
Taylor.
no, definitely have some things planned. I have everything kind of scripted out, or what I want to do. I haven't filmed it or shot, created the videos yet. I'm off
Right.
next week, and so that's priority number one next week to get my videos done. But like I said, I'm going to incorporate some content from from the community as well, because I want to obviously
Right.
want to highlight the community and the great curators and talent that we have within the community.
Sure. One thing I want to mention that Brian's not going to mention, and I'm going to tell everybody here in the chat and anybody that watches on the rewind, this isn't cheap. Okay. I mean, I know you guys get this, but Brian, not just is he putting in his time, but there's money involved in here. I mean, I'm glad that I told him, like, I'm sending you money for this. Do with it whatever you need to do, just from buying extra, a trophy or whatever. But if you guys really want to help out, throw a little cheddar his way, because it costs money to get all this stuff together. And that's all I'm gonna say on that.
Well, I appreciate that, Jim. Yeah, and that was one of the slight changes we made this year, because last year I did get some donations for some gifts. My comic shop provided a $100 gift certificate for all of the winners last year. This year, I do have some donated slabs and things that I'm going to be sending to some of the winners. But the trophies and all that are that's something that I'm putting together. I'm funding, and I did that last year. But this year, what I did was I had asked community members to sponsor a category, and Jim, you were kind enough to do that. We had a number of community members do that to help offset some of the cost of the the trophies and the shipping and all of that. So
good. Journey, you need to throw some cheddar up in there. That's the only way you go get in, sucker.
Oh, he's not rigging it for Jim. He's rigging it for Jim's brother. Brother Joe.
No. The prize.
Well,
yeah,
it's a no prize, John.
Yeah.
Mary Marvel, no prize. So, let's talk about the awards then that you made. Like last year, I thought they were pretty nice looking awards. Did you go with the same style, or did you go with something different to represent a different year?
We're switching it up a little bit. We're going to have the it's going to be a little bit bigger, and we're because I did have some sponsors help me fund the trophies. That's really the biggest expense. We're switching it up. We're going to make it a little bit bigger. We're adding the logo, and I'm going to have the winner's name engraved on the award. Last year it was just the year and the category that they won, but this year we'll actually have the winner's name engraved as well on the trophy.
Oh, nice.
So that's one of my chores for tomorrow. I have to get on the phone with the trophy company and get things finalized.
Now, how much of a headache is it shipping out trophies to make sure that they're packed well and don't break?
Yeah, it was luckily they get shipped to me really well, packed really well. But I have to take them all out and have them ready for the live stream, and then have to repack them up. But I have all the packing materials, and then it's really just shipping. That's again another additional cost, right? Last year we had we had an international winner, so that got expensive. And if I could have planned this, if I would have replanned this or rethought about it year one, I may have not done the show like right in the middle of holiday season,
right?
Because obviously there's other expenses going on, but
one or two,
yeah. So, but we'll make it work.
There you go. Right on.
I cannot duplicate the trophy anymore. So Jerry's asking. So you yourself, you already know the winners. It's just getting everything together now.
Right. Yes, I do. So I mean, basically, once the voting closed. So voting closed last Sunday or Saturday, midnight, Sunday morning. I didn't look at them on Sunday because I actually went to a football game. Went to the New York Giant game last Sunday, so I didn't have a chance to look at the results right away. But I mean, I spot checked them throughout the year, throughout the voting, just to kind of see, how close things are, because there were some categories that were very close, where a handful of votes separated, the winner from second place. So, but Monday afternoon, I sat down and basically compiled all of the results, and then sent it out to, like I said, a few of the community members. So there's a few community members who know on the committee who know the results as well. So I just have trust in them that they'll keep it, under wraps until December 3rd.
There you go, people. Start greasing them. Just buy those wins with some nice key comics.
Oh,
Now,
colored their name.
right?
Great, man.
Now, when you were going through that, yeah, the participation, yeah. Now, when you're going through that, is there anything you saw once you were seeing the winners come to fruition that showed that the changes were taking effect and working better this year than the previous year?
I think so. There was a change that was made in the finalist voting probably midway, and it was based on feedback. So one of the changes, when you submitted your ballot, you had to vote for every single category. So 22 categories.
Right.
But some of the feedback from the community was that, well, I'm not familiar with all those channels. So, I may only want to vote for certain categories because I know of those channels in there. So what we did was we switched that so that you didn't have to vote for all 22, you could vote for individual. So there were some categories that had more votes than others because of that change.
Sure.
But I know, for example, that all of the categories, all 22, had at least 600 votes and more. There were others that had 700. So it varied
Right.
because of that change. But I think it gave the voter flexibility. What submitting their ballot. So we'll carry that forward next year. But my hope and my thought with including all 22 in the original ballot was that people might go out and do their homework a little bit and look
Yeah.
at those channels.
That's the irony of it, isn't it? You want them to go and
Right,
check those channels out.
Exactly.
That's
That
great to
was
see.
really the goal, to go maybe discover channels that they were unfamiliar with.
Yep.
I linked everything on the website. I
Right.
linked everybody's YouTube channel on the website. So I was hopeful that people would go do that. But then others said, the feedback came in was, well, maybe I don't have the time, or maybe I just don't want to do it. I don't know what the reasons were, but so that was one of the little tweaks we made,
Right.
along the way.
It's
Right.
funny because when Gary would do his grow together and shout out channels, and I'd be writing them down, and I'd go back and I'd do a quick cursory look at a video and be like, okay, nice channel, not for me. Just like some people might look at mine and be like, all right, not for me. And that's fine. At least I went and looked. And that's the whole point of, in my mind, not the whole point, but a part of the reason for having the awards is to say, hey, these are people that, have been nominated. You should at least check out their channel, even if you don't want to watch it all the time. At least, give it a one-time look.
It should be on your radar, right? Yeah.
Right. Yeah. That's why when you originally did it with vote, you have to vote for everything. I thought, well, that's cool because they'll have to go and at least look, because nobody wants to just arbitrarily pick a name, though some people will.
Yeah, some people might. So.
Yeah, I mean, I shouldn't say that. So
now I had another question too. When you're doing the awards and you're coming up with the people who are going to be nominated, or the people who you can vote to be finalists, are you doing, like, say you're looking at someone like Best Reviews, or Jerry's here, Best Restoration, right?
Right.
Are you looking at those channels and going, well, you have to have a minimum of this many review videos to meet the review category, or this many restoration videos to meet the restoration category, or this many community events to be in the community?
Yes.
Are you looking at people having
criteria?
Yeah, so that was probably some of the biggest, the most time-consuming piece of this year's awards so far, other than creating all the videos and getting ready for the live show. I had to spend a considerable amount of time going through the nomination list. So luckily, I can see the nominations as they're coming in, and so if there was a channel in the nomination list that I was unfamiliar with, I would go subscribe and check out some of their content. But once the nominations were done, basically the finalists are the top five vote getters, or not, top five nominations. But then I had to validate those channels to make sure they fit the criteria. So, like Jerry the Jitterbugs category, with cleaning and pressing, there was a lot of when those finalists were announced. Comic Tom is one of those finalists. Comic Tom doesn't do pressing and cleaning himself, but he has a number of videos on his channel that he brings somebody else in, and he provides the information. And so I brought it to the committee, and the committee and I felt that that was acceptable. He does have, it's 15, 20 videos on his channel of how to press, how to clean, those type of techniques. It's totally different than what Jerry does or what some of the other channels do, but it still fit the criteria.
Right.
So, and I did that through every single category. I looked at who were the top five nomination getters, and then I went and validated them to make sure. We had the tiers this year with number of subscribers, so that was that's an easy one. But
Right.
then did they fit the criteria, whether it was speculation content or whatever the category was. So
Comic Journey's fighting you. So this year then, along with doing the awards again, there's a lot more of a time commitment to what you've had to do to prep for this year's finals.
Yeah, a little bit more, because it's simply because we doubled the amount of categories, right? So we went from
Right.
11 to 22. So, that just in itself, there's more votes, more beans to be counted, more trophies to be ordered, those type of things. So because it grew just in the amount of categories, it just created a little bit more work. But it's fun work. I enjoy doing it. So, and typically I take the week of Thanksgiving off from work. We have Thursday, Friday off. So I take Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and I'm able to do a lot of the prep work that week. The one thing that happened though last year was I got COVID right after Thanksgiving last year, and so leading up to the award show last year, I was sick, and so I almost thought I would have to cancel. But luckily, I didn't feel good for like 2 or 3 days, and then really kind of, then I started feeling a little bit better. But when I first got, tested positive and then was sick for a day or two, I was like, I was worried that I may have had to cancel or reschedule. But luckily, like I said, I wasn't,
All right.
wasn't feeling that bad.
Put yourself in a bubble this coming week. You don't go out anywhere.
Exactly.
You stay inside. You send the wife out for whatever needs to be done.
No family's coming over for Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I can't risk it. I got responsibilities.
Oh goodness! Now with the committee members and their involvement, did they kind of choose what their own responsibilities were, or did you have some sense of where you were going to place each person, or did the responsibilities pretty much balance throughout? Everyone had a little bit of the same thing going on.
Yeah, it was pretty much a true committee where I would pose a question and it would be posed to everybody, and then we would discuss it, and then if we had to put things to a vote, we would do that. So yeah, no, pretty much all of the committee members were involved, equally. So it was good. I think it was a good discussion. So I think each year, certainly if any of the existing committee members would like to come back, but I think we want to try to rotate in some new people within the committee so that we have some people get involved that haven't been involved previously and maybe come in with some different ideas or point of view. So
kind of creating your own Illuminati.
Yes.
Oh goodness. Now, I did see too, like you did the best in a lot of categories. I still think there's some voices out there that we as a community got to still help promote, right? A lot of newcomers, and are there new measures that are coming into play for next year's awards that would is it just going to be YouTube, or are you going to have on the committee like people from outside YouTube, or is it going to remain a YouTube committee to help promote other YouTubers? Because we still haven't seen like in the awards, there's like some great female led channels on there too that we haven't seen pop up. Like the the comic chat on Sunday, and with Mars, and Comics Will Break Your Heart. And
Right.
there's a lot of great women out there doing some great community things too. And haven't seen them. Is that more of a lack of the community voting them in and voicing an opinion to have their channels come up, or you think that they're kind of just being noticed this year, and next year might be the bubble buster?
No, I mean that was one of
Sorry,
the
hard
items.
questions, I know.
Yeah, that was no. I mean, that was one of the items that the committee really kicked around a lot about. We definitely wanted to have some diversity, right? We wanted to have, female. We wanted to have, female led channels, creators. We wanted to have, a good mix of channels that to make sure the awards was, um, represented, a cross section of the community. And so we looked at some of the awards, and that's kind of one of the bylines of the committee rules, or the comic book community award rules, is that the committee does have an option, even though, say, a channel has the um, fifth most, nominations. We do have the right to maybe sub somebody else in, for them, who maybe has lower nominations, but could be a female led. But we ultimately want it to be driven by nominations, right? The community, whoever the community finds, um, most creative, or popular. I don't like to use the word popular, but
Sure.
um, whoever we want the committee, we want the community to really nominate their favorites.
Right.
Um, but we do recognize that we do need to include, um, a wide variety of channels. Um, maybe not just the people who have the most subscribers, or the most popular.
So what you're saying, Gary, is you wanted to see like a subsection or a award for just the female YouTubers.
No, not a separate
No.
award, just for them to be included in the awards that already
Uh,
exist.
well,
Because if you
and
do a separate award for it, then you're saying that they have a separate validation, not the same
right, and that's
validation
what
as
I was
everybody
trying to
else.
clear up. I mean, that's not
Right.
okay, and that's not what you're saying, and that's fine. But I get what Brian's saying. I mean, if they weren't nominated, I mean, they weren't nominated. Um,
Yeah, I wasn't picking on Brian. I'm just asking a question.
Yeah,
okay,
no, it's a fair question. Like I said, that was really something that was one of the big things that the committee discussed this year, about making sure that we have a good cross section of channels
right,
that become the finalists. And I thought we definitely did a better job this year. There were a number of some female led channels, or some duos, some couples, husband and wife.
right,
Um, Bruce and Stephanie, Madam and Master Blaster, Danny Girl Comics was nominated. Um,
nice.
Married with Comics was another new channel that was nominated. So I think
Nice.
definitely a step in the right direction, but hopefully, each year we'll continue to, um, include newer or different channels in the finalist list. So.
Right.
Right. And now with the um, direction you've gone this year and the changes, has it been more fun for you to do it this year, or has it just been the same amount of fun, just a different kind of focus and challenge on how you do it?
No, I think it definitely it has been more fun for me this year. I think what I learned last year was,
Because it's a
I
big
had the
task. You
idea.
got to at least enjoy it some, right?
Right.
Yeah, oh yeah. But I think what I learned last year was that I, I had the idea, put the idea out there, we started it, and um, you know, I was kind of taken back that people had some people had a negative reaction to it. But what I learned was that that's okay, right? Their awards aren't for everybody. You know, there's
Right.
going to be some channels that really don't care about it, and if people were upset about it, that I really don't need to have a response to that. That's their opinion, and they're okay to not like it or not want to be involved. I really need to be above that, and that's kind of what I learned in year two was I need to be more of just the ambassador of it and above that, and not get any finger pointing or name calling with
Right.
other channels who may voice their displeasure with it. That's fine.
Well,
I
that
had
was
reached out.
another question I had too. Is whenever you're doing something like this, that's a public thing. You got to be able to have a filter where the negativity doesn't affect you.
Yes,
You
and
got
that's
you got to be able to not take it personal. Some
yes, and
people
that
are good at separating it, and some people aren't. So
Yeah.
you've had a better, you've been better this year at not struggling with that and learn like, hey, I can't control everything. Every year is a learning process. Every year we can grow it in a more defined direction. But this is still only year two. You know,
yeah, and that's what I have to remind myself. Right, it's only year two, but I like I said, I did learn that hey, look, I just got to take a step back from it and not.
oh my
I also
god,
think
I'm
you
sorry.
need. I
Go
think
ahead,
everybody
Brian.
needs. I think everybody needs to remember that. I mean, this is Gary. You say it all the time. This is your getaway. YouTube is your getaway to have fun. All right, and if you're not having fun when you're making your videos and I mean, if Brian's not having fun with the awards and everything that he does on his channel,
Yeah,
what's
then
the
why
point
do
of
them?
why do it? Yeah, I
Right,
mean,
right.
the people that are like, oh, this is the negative part of it. Oh, why do it? Why are you doing this? This is no value in this. Blah blah blah. Well, then don't worry about it because you don't have to be a part of it. Just move on to what you're doing. It's fine. I just I can't understand that, but I think you're absolutely right the way you're looking at it, Brian. Continue on with that.
Yeah, it's meant to be fun, right? It's meant to be a celebration of the community, right? There's
Right.
because when I first started my own channel and when I started discovering other channels, I was amazed at the whether it was somebody's editing ability or their Free Key Louie is a great example, right? His comedy and the sketches and the costumes he's wearing, the
Right.
work that he puts into creating videos.
Right. And
Um,
in his intros, where he takes an old TV show and is like part of, yeah,
right.
amazing.
And his
Yeah.
And
I
ability
mean,
to
with the editing,
and then you look at somebody like a DJ Lynx who has such great editing skills, and Jerry, the work that he's doing, if 2 years ago you told me I'm going to take this comic book and put it in a bucket of water, I would say you're crazy. But now I
right.
see Jerry do that on a weekly basis. So um, there's so much, knowledge and, like I said, creativity within the community. Why not celebrate it?
Journey.
And then you got Comic Journey.
Journey. Journey is the best.
yeah, YouTube's favorite troll.
Oh my god, he's the best.
now, well, and not only that, but I mean, we talk about the negativity, but the negativity is also good because it drives views, right?
Yeah,
I mean, there's a certain amount of people that are watching just to complain, but they're watching.
Right.
right.
I
It's
hate this.
helping,
I hate this.
right?
Let me put
They're
that down.
watching,
Yeah, I'm like, well, that's the funny part.
No,
Yeah.
no, no such thing as bad press, right?
right?
Right. Oh my god, that's so funny. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. For me, I will go to certain channel. Like when I am having an absolutely bad day, whether it's work or whatever's going on, there are certain channels I will go to that I'm like, they just make me feel better. And for me, that's the best part of YouTube. I mean, I love. Don't get me wrong. Like there's some times, like you said, I'll go over to Jerry's channel just to watch it and go, "Holy crap, this is amazing!" And it's like an educational thing. But then there's other channels that just, you know, that's for me. It's just to make me feel better because of what they're presenting, whether it's a skit or whatever. So
I don't think I've ever seen Brian on my channel. I'm just kidding. Brian's on my channel all the time. So I did have a suggestion for a skit one year for a clip.
Okay.
I would love to see, and I don't know if this is possible because I'm not doing any of the work for it. So if it isn't, it isn't, right? But we all do a bunch of live shows. I would love to see a clip of like funniest flubs live, where people just mess up what they're doing live and trip over their words or do something silly, and or
Yeah,
or
that was one.
awkward
I think
moments on Whack Comics.
that came up recently. I think I was hanging out with Simple Simon and we talked about that. Like somebody mentioned the Burke fall from his
yeah, the bird,
chair.
right?
So things like that, which I would love to do, kind of put together a
A
crazy
blooper
moments
reel.
or like a blooper reel.
Yeah,
But I would really need the community's help to send those in, and we can certainly compile them and put them together because um, I thought of it. I said, wow, I could do that, but I really need to start at the beginning of the year and capture moments as they happen.
right.
And
Right,
I
and then
was,
message them and say, "Hey, could you send me that
yeah,
clip?"
send me that clip, right? I was kind of upset that the whole Will Smith, Chris Rock thing happened back in February because I was like, well, I can't leverage that for the live show in December because it's kind of old news now.
Right.
You could still have Taylor Winder come on and slap you and have him tell you to get his name out of your mouth. I
Yeah, I
would
guess that would
watch.
still
I
be
would
fun.
watch that a 24-hour stream of Taylor going on stage to fake slap you. Oh,
Lord, that's awesome.
yes, the blooper reel. Because I mean,
Yeah.
we all do it, right? We all have
Oh
like
yeah.
just the greatest flubs, or we end the show wrong or start the show wrong. I mean, Jim's seen me do it. I don't know how many times. I get distracted talking to people, put the wrong start on. Oh, not that one. Take it right back off. Go with the real one.
Yeah.
Oh,
I feel like Remy Q would be good at going and finding all the flubs. Like he just has an eye for like, okay, I heard something went down here. Let me just check it out. Clip, that's where it was, and then put it all together, like a whole reel of it. I feel like that's something that he would be good at.
oh, Freaky Louie would be great at
And
helping put
yeah,
that.
him and
And
Louis
and
both would.
him and Remy together, putting
Oh my
some clips
gosh,
together.
that could be dangerous.
Wow, that was probably one of the funniest clips I saw this year. Was right when Louis was on, he lost his audio, but Remy voiced the video.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
So
or just a community skit, like have like a 30-second ad play that was made by Remy with him doing his voiceover work, like pew 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 pew, and doing
yeah,
all things.
Well, like I said, I did do a lot of outreach to the community, so I think I've received one video so far. I did give them the end of the month deadline, but so I'm hopeful to get some additional additional videos in from some of the community that I reached out to. So, but really too, and if anybody has an idea or would like to do something, please let me know. Reach out to me. We can, I want to include as many as much of the community as we can on the award show.
Right, and that was kind of my reason for the question earlier, right? You don't need to see me on it every year. I do the same thing. That's boring, right? um, now, I did one of the other questions I had written down here. Now that it's mostly wrapped up for you, like the voting process, you know who the winners are. What's the hardest part about waiting until December 3rd? Like, you kind of got through the big thing, but there's still got to be some stress involved right now. One, you know everything about the winners. You got to keep it to yourself. That's probably not so hard. But what is the most stressful part, dealing with the community or coming on shows like this and having to answer questions? What's the most
No,
stressful thing leading up to the actual awards in the last moments?
I think it's just to get all of the little details together. So, like I said, I'm in the process of getting the trophies finalized. But what I found out last year was I ordered the trophies like on a Monday, and they were delivered to my house like on a Thursday. So
wow.
I missed the opportunity to be able to get the winners' names engraved. I just didn't calculate. I really thought there was going to be a longer lead time. So that was one of the changes I made. So that's not so stressful. I mean, it's still work I need to do. And then the biggest thing is really just pulling in all of the videos that I need to create and get everything together and basically outline the live show. I mean, obviously, the awards kind of give me 1 through 22 of the categories, but I want to have content in between. But I also want to be I want to keep it moving. I don't want the award show to be 4 hours, so I
Well,
want
that's
to try
always
to
going to
keep
be
it.
one of my next questions. What's your target time for the show, like that you want to
Right.
have it run?
I think an hour and a half, 2 hours, maybe max. I mean, obviously we duplicated, we added categories, so that's just going to add time.
Right.
But want to try to keep things moving because we're starting at 9 o'clock, 9 p.m. Eastern. So I can't, I wouldn't want to go longer than say 11. And two, being on camera and talking for close to 2 hours is a lot as well. So.
Right.
Now, are you going to have a co-host for this year's show, or is
That
it
was
just
my question. I was going to
Oh, I'm
ask.
sorry, Jim.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Or is it mostly just going to be you doing it again with people coming in periodically?
Please say Journey. Please say Journey. Please say Journey.
I don't have a co-host lined up, but I'm not opposed to that. One of the things I was going to do, what I was thinking of doing was, but this would have just added some logistics to it as well. Presenters come on, so we have there's a number of sponsors for each of the categories. So I did offer to any of the sponsors, if they wanted to present the award that they sponsored, they could come on and do that. So one of the things I was thinking of doing was sending them the sealed envelope with the winner and they could reveal it on camera. But again, that nobody really took me up on that offer of presenting. And then that just adds another layer of, I've got to get this card mailed out to so-and-so before the show. So,
Right.
I haven't officially reached out, but it has been an idea of, having somebody else come on and present or help me, present some of the awards. But I don't have that locked in as of yet.
The dancers aren't available that night.
No, they are not. They had a prior commitment.
Prior engagement. So my other question is an aspect I don't think anyone thinks about, right? Doing something that's stressful like this. How does it? What does your family think of it, or they just don't care about the YouTube channel at all, or involved themselves?
No, my wife, my wife refers to my comic book collecting as cute.
Yeah.
Isn't that
She said,
adorable?
like I was reading a couple books before we came on tonight, catching up on my reading pile, and she's like, "Oh, is that a new comic?" And I'm like, "Yes, of course it's a new." So
Right.
she's very supportive of it, but really doesn't want to have any involvement with it. I've asked her to come on the channel and do a video or two, but she has no interest in doing that, which is fine. But like I told her, like this week, I was on your channel on Tuesday and then again tonight. So I was like, oh, I'm doing something on YouTube, Tuesday and Thursday night. So, so she's like, yeah, fine, go for it. My kids know of it. They asked me, like, I do my Saturday morning show and they said, oh, is it, Breakfast with Brian time? And then I go, so they're aware of it, but they're supportive of it, but they don't really help me.
They're just like, hey, go ahead, do your thing, Dad. That's fine.
Yeah, right.
Right.
And I understand that. That's how my kid is. Buddy, I got my live show tonight. Just okay, Dad.
Right,
Yep.
right.
He'll be in his own thing. Doesn't care a lick, right?
As long as there's food in the refrigerator, they're fine.
Right. While we're talking about the Breakfast with Brian part, I remember how I asked you to send me that clip of the opening. Yes. So I showed it to my wife, and she was like, "You have to send that to me." And I was like, "Why? Why would you possibly need this?" She goes, "I'm gonna need it, for my shopping trip." So she did a shopping trip with her two best friends about a week ago. And when they go on these things, she's all business when it comes to shopping. I mean, like she's got places she wants to go. So she wants to go. She wants to get up and go,
Focus, huh?
and they're not a get up and go people in the mornings. So when it reached a time where she had reached her limit, she popped that on the phone and blasted it to get them up. And they were like, what the frack are you doing, man? I mean, come on.
So yeah, so that's a clip that I think I originally saw on Spinetick's channel, and then it's a YouTube creator, Mark Rebelo
Yeah.
I forget his last name, but it's such a funny clip of him,
Oh, I love it.
and he just creates music. I've watched some of his live streams where he's just with a keyboard and a mixer, and he's making music, and it's fun to watch. But that clip is so funny, and I do have something planned for that clip for the awards. So
nice.
I was just going to ask you, are we due for any big surprise this year on the live show that we didn't see last year?
No, I think we're going to try to keep it similar. We're going to, like I said, we're going to have some skits, some things that I'm going to do. Like I said, I'm hopefully going to have some good community involvement. I think we're going to try to have fun with the best hair and hands and mustache category. And I have a couple other different videos that I have planned that I hopefully will be funny.
Will crispy bacon appear?
Right.
That's right. Only crispy.
Now that you've done these for 2 years too, what is the biggest request the biggest request you've gotten over and over about the awards from the community?
I think it's just we made changes, in year 2, and then like I said, we doubled the categories, and people were still saying, "Oh, well, we should add this category. We should add that category."
Well, it's easy to say to add stuff when you're not running it,
right?
I think Brian. I think you should have 75 categories. Yeah, that's the ticket. Yeah.
I think that that, but I appreciate the feedback. The feedback is good because like I said, I want to know what the community is, thinking, or what they may like or enjoy, so to help try to incorporate that. But at some point, you have to kind of just put your foot down and be like, all right, no more changes. This is what we're going with, and we'll look at it again for next year. I mean,
or else the show would never happen.
Right, exactly. You can't, at some point you have to, I'm a project manager in my day job, and so at some point you got to stop adding scope to the project, right?
Right.
You got to lock it in. You're never going to deliver. You're never going to deliver the baby, if you keep making changes.
You're never going to crisp the bacon if you don't fry it.
That's right.
So funny. Crispy bacon or fatty bacon, Brian?
Oh, we're crispy. We're team crispy.
Yeah. I mean,
Breakfast with Brian is probably, the folks that join us we're about 99% crispy bacon. I think Cole is the only one who's a floppy bacon guy.
He is taking auditions, Kyle, but you have to show up in a banana hammock or else he won't even look at you.
Oh, Lord. Oh, man. Well, that's good.
Oh, Pasty. Yeah, Pasty's in a banana hammock.
We're gonna try to get Scott on. I think the Power Ranger bikini.
Oh,
I know. He's becoming internet famous now with the Power Rangers bikini.
I know. Yeah.
Now, and one of my other questions was our Lord and Savior of StreamYard, Chip Gettler, did he bless your broadcast that's upcoming?
Yeah.
Not yet. I've submitted the application, but I have not heard back.
Right.
He's a busy man.
So I had to get a little jab in on my buddy Chip there.
Yeah.
One of the best people ever.
Absolutely.
Wonderful.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean,
Now, so with the committee people, I did see, like, Marcus did promote it a lot. You see Travis promoting it a lot. Right. And like Jerry pointed out earlier, Jerry had it in every one of his videos.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And So with all the promotion that happened this year, did you see a large uptick in participation?
Well, we did. We did. Like I said, we saw. So there were over 400 channels that received nominations,
Okay. Wow.
and last year I think we were at under 200, and then the finalist voting, we grew from, like I said, about five. I think it was about 539, 540, something like that, to over 800 ballots that were submitted. So definitely saw growth in from year one to year two. So.
Hmm.
And I think there were some channels that didn't know about it year one who know about it now.
Right.
I had a few people reach out to me, whether it was on Instagram, and say, "Hey, how do I, how can I get my channel, nominated?" So I explained to them, it's based on community vote. So if
Fifty
you can
dollars
let
a week,
your
it's no problem.
so so yeah, so I mean, yeah, I definitely think we took a step in the right direction in year two.
Sure.
Well, and I think, we saw, I mean, there had to be a dozen or so channels that did their voting live, or, and recorded a video and went through the process of why they were voting
Right.
for this channel over this channel. So I think,
Marcus
like I
did
said,
that a
I think
lot.
that's,
Yeah, I was gonna say I know Marcus did it, and I
yeah,
think I
Marcus did it. I think Simple Simon did it, Comic Bookworm, Tylux the
yeah
Mighty. I mean, there were a
yeah
number of people that
right
did that during a live stream or video. So that helps every because you never know who's watching that channel and who may become aware of the awards for the first time. So
Now, and we'll get to wrapping up soon. We've already hit an hour. But what was one of the biggest surprises with running it this year? That kind of awed you.
I don't know if there was really. I think the some of the dislike or some of the negative stuff from year one was kind of very quiet this year. At least I didn't hear much about it.
right
Which was good. I felt like, all right, this is a step in the right direction. It's we're not hearing too much negative comments or feedback. So I think that was the biggest surprise.
And have you ever thought about doing a behind the scenes of setting up an awards show or an
No,
awards event?
no, I haven't. I mean, it's pretty straightforward, right? Because like I said, all I'm doing is facilitating it. Really, the community nominates channels. It's an open nomination, based on certain categories, but it's an open nomination as long as those channels fit that within that category.
right
They can be nominated, and then it's really just counting up the numbers and then presenting the finalist, and then again having the community vote. The biggest piece of work is really the live show of just getting everything all together, and like I said, trophies, and then or sent shipping out the prizes to the winners. I mean, because I really am from a the committee's helped, but we're doing everything virtually, right? It's not like
right
we're meeting in a boardroom somewhere. A lot of the work is done by me, and
Right,
only me.
right
But feedback, from the committee or the community. But no, it's certainly not too much work, and it's spread out across the year, or like a 9 month period that it's in small enough chunks to be able to handle it.
right.
and now, how did you pick the time period that the awards would run? What were the factors that determined that for you?
Well, last year when I initially started it, it was I started my channel in April, and so by June, I had the idea for the awards, and it kind of kicked off in June. So this year, what I did was I said, "Oh, I want to have the award show the first week in December, the first Saturday of December." And so I plotted that and just worked backwards on the voting period, nomination, and the finalist voting. So that's what I'll do next year. Is I'll just look at the calendar, whatever the first Saturday in December is, and just work backwards with
From
the
that.
different. We basically have a 12-week time period, 12 weeks for nominations, 12 weeks for the finalists voting, and then just some in time in between to, like I said, count, get things organized. So
Now, when the final voting does take place, I'm kind of curious how many of those votes come in during the last week of the voting period?
we had a big push. So we were at maybe almost 700, and then within the last week we probably had another 100 or so votes
Right.
come in. So there
Wow.
was kind of like a big push. Like people, I don't know if people remembered, like, I need to go do that, or they had their grandmother go vote for their favorite channels, or I don't know what it was, but there was definitely a major influx, in that last week.
Somebody out there created 500 separate emails and voted out
Right.
the game category.
Well, that's one of the other things I went through. So there were some people that actually voted with the same email and same name, and so any duplicate, I eliminated their second ballot.
Right.
Um, and there were a few. I think there were maybe 10 or 12 that were true duplicates where somebody voted with the exact same email. And I've heard people mention, "Oh, just go create another email and then go vote again." So.
How can you vote in the same category with the same email?
And I thought I'm using a Google form to collect the data, and I thought you couldn't do that based on the Google form, that you had to have a unique email. But when I compiled the results, there were a few emails that were exactly the same, and so the requirements were your name, which you could just put a first name or a fake name in, but your email as well.
Right.
Like I said, I did come across a couple duplicates that were just, if somebody voted twice under the same email, one was eliminated and one was kept.
Maybe it was. Maybe there's not any a set. Maybe it's not set up that way.
I thought it was, but evidently it wasn't, because I did see a few
Yeah.
duplicates. So
Mm.
yeah.
You know.
Is there anything that we haven't covered tonight about the awards or the show that's upcoming that you wanted to share with the community about what's happening or what's going to happen?
Well, I think I mentioned it, and I'll mention it again. If anybody wants to participate in any way, just let me know. Like I said, I don't want it to be about me. It's for the community. So if anybody has any interest, I did reach out to a bunch of people within the community. Some people said, "Hey, I'll get you something." So I'm hopeful that, and they did. Last year was the same thing. I got a bunch of community involvement. I've got a bunch of videos that came in from the community. Um, and they came in, a week or so before the awards.
Right.
So I'm expecting that I'll still get some more. But again, if anybody's interested, um, reach out to me on Instagram, and we'll make it happen. Um, but no, I think other than that, I think I was really happy with the progress in year two. I think we took a big step in the right direction. Like I said, I didn't hear a lot of negativity, which is good, and so we'll continue to move forward and evolve it every year, and hopefully just make it bigger and better as we go.
Bigger, louder, faster.
Yeah.
There
Oh
you
my
go.
goodness. So, have you actually filmed any skits yet for the show?
I have not. I've been meaning to, and I just haven't had the time to do it. But like I said, I'm off all next week. Most of the family's working earlier in the week, so I'll be home alone, so I can
Do your skits.
do what I need to do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Jim, did you have any other questions, sir?
I don't think so. I always make the running joke internally that, man, we need to get a Marvel movie character to get person star to come on and do a presentation of one of them or something to give it the push it needs, the next level push. I'll have to email, like, Henry Cavill or one of those guys. Hey,
You don't even have to. You can have Freaky Louie come on in one of his Spider-Man costumes.
well, I thought about that too. That's what we need to do.
And you could
Peter
have
Parker
Legion of
here.
Comics come on in a Superman costume. You could have Mark come on in a Superman costume.
There you go. Maybe that's what needs to do.
Yeah.
All right. Nice. So, Brian, I know I'm going to be watching the show live. I'll be looking forward to it.
Oh
So,
yeah.
I didn't know what to expect from it last year. And there was a lot of stuff I giggled and laughed at, which, I like that the comedy was part of it and made it a little bit more fun. Obviously, oh, yeah, there you go. Get Ricky Gervais to do it. Yeah, I would love to be put down by Ricky Gervais. Do
Yeah.
that. That guy is pure genius. I love Ricky Gervais.
And I'm sure with the British accent and everything, he would come on and be like, "Well, they kicked me out of the Academy Awards, so here I am at your awards, you bastards."
Right? About to blow you all up. Oh, dude, he's so funny.
Yeah.
He's so smart. I love, but that's a different tangent. Ricky Gervais is awesome.
Right.
But Brian, thank you for coming on. I hope that you had a great experience. It was, a lot of fun seeing Marcus talk about it because Marcus was really passionate about it. I almost had Jim jump through the screen tonight at me because he's passionate about it when I asked you a few questions.
Well, I just was trying to clarify something there in my head.
I'm just picking on you, Jim. You're good. But gonna be a lot of fun. I hope this was good timing to promote your show on the 3rd. I wanted to try to get you on where it would do the most good to help get you some viewers funneled towards there.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. Yeah, no, I'm, like I said, I'm happy to talk about it and, happy to promote it any way I can. And I appreciate all of, the community support, Marcus, he's been the biggest cheerleader and, but everybody, like I said, everybody who's done, talks about it. Jerry was mentioning in his videos who did their voting. I mean, all of those things, can get some additional eyeballs on it and help it to, continue to grow. So all good things.
And congratulations on the success of all the more votes this year and people being engaged. That's a big accomplishment. And I know it's helped drive your channel subs too, which is a great added benefit.
Yeah, definitely congratulations on that.
Yeah, no, that's been a nice, added benefit of getting just eyeballs on, on my channel as well. Right. But I try to do my part and try to visit and comment and watch content as much. And even through the nomination process, I discovered some new channels. So that was a good thing even for me, to find and watch new channels that weren't on my radar. So.
Yeah, I wonder how you get time to watch so many because you turn up in a lot of my videos. I'm like, how does he have so much time to do it? How does he find it? Because, in this day and age, it's hard to find time. There's always something taking it up, right?
Right.
Yeah. My secret is I usually watch everybody's video on more than regular speed.
Right. Rob brought that up the other day on Chris's channel, and I thought, that's genius. I think I'm going to have to try that.
And it's funny. There's some people, the way they speak and their tone of their voice, that you can put it on 2x and you're not missing anything.
Right. Probably like mine. It's so pitchy.
So it just depends. There's some that I may do that, increase the speed, and I'm like, I can't understand what that guy, Comic Journey's probably a good example.
Well,
you can't listen to him. He's hyped enough at regular speed. You can't listen to him at anything faster.
He can't go any faster.
You might want to slow him down, maybe
right. Go the other direction.
I'll give him credit though. At least before he goes live, he clears all the lines away, so you don't see how he prepped.
Yeah. Like, oh my gosh.
Oh goodness. Well, Brian, I know I'm looking forward to the show. I know Jim is too. Yeah. And I know you'll be glad to have another year behind you. Get yourself a nice little vacation in there before you start year 3. I'm going to assume you're going to keep this going.
Oh yeah. No plans. Like I said, I'm still having fun with it, still learning. So no plans of stopping it anytime soon.
Cool.
So all of you guys out there, December 3rd, don't schedule any of your own YouTube events. Go watch Brian's live for the one night. Let him have YouTube that night. Go support the show, or I'll send Digger Jim to your house.
That's right. I know where to bury the bodies.
No, Digger Jim's too nice. He would show up with some nice old coins for you and a few comics and probably sit down and have a coffee with you.
But then he might hit you with the metal detector.
That's right, or the shovel.
Right?
I'm gonna end this by saying this: if you are not watching Breakfast from Brian on Saturday morning to start your Saturday, I don't know what you're doing. It's just not. You need to get on there and Team Crispy Bacon.
Right.
And that happened by mistake, really, because I was trying to find, not by mistake, but I was just trying to find a time slot that nobody else was on, and it happened to be Saturday morning. And then I said, that's pretty good for me because I can kind of do the live stream and then go on with my day with other things that I need to get done. And so it kind of it turned into something that worked really well for both people watching and for me. So
right, good job.
And I want to thank the audience. We had a great turnout tonight. Everyone coming to support Brian and the show. Thank you for supporting our channel. Of course, my guests here and my co-host, their links are in the description. Please go support these great gentlemen. Give them a sub, give them a like, give their videos a fair shot. You can, at least watch one, see if you like it or not. If you are any of the people catching this on the rewind and you are new to these two gentlemen, go give them a check out. And just great stuff. Thank you again, Brian. Thank you, Jim. Always a pleasure.
Yep.
And fun times. And I really had a fun time with Brian LCS week.
Well, thank you. Thanks for having me on, putting up with me for 2 nights. Appreciate it.
That's great.
No problem at all. And until next time, guys, keep it casual. Attention all, use channel sponsor Rogue Trader at theroguetraderutah.com and my code Keep It Casual for 10% off your comic cleaning and pressing needs. Remember, when submitting your books to be graded, use a trusted professional.